is a sandwich between the two irresponsible nuclear powers, India and Pakistan. And we shouldn't forget that President Clinton, while he started his visit to India in 2000, March 20, 2000, he said that India and Pakistan is the most flashpoint for any nuclear conflict. So, it is to be understood that India, under the garb of democracy, on one hand is using its nuclear prowess to cover the neighbors. What happened in Nepal in the last few months, that how India, which has made countries like Sikkim, Bhutan as its subservient states, wanted to do the same with the Nepal. They did the economical blockade of Nepal for 4 or 5 months. Hundreds of people, particularly children, died due to lack of medication, as Nepal, being a landlocked country, is fully dependent on its supplies from India. Not only that, the minorities, the way they have been treated in India, it may be what happened in June 1984, full-fledged Indian army attack on Golden Temple, sanctum sanctorum of the Sikhs. Then November 84, genocide all over India. And when we see with the other minorities, particularly with this bloody butcher Modi in power in 2014, what is happening, that while he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, 50,000 Sikh farmers were dispossessed of their lands, which they developed, cultivated for more than 50 years. This Modi is the same person. While he became the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he cancelled the public holiday of Guru Nanak Sahib's birthday. And since his coming to power, all the RSS outfits, it may be Bajrang Dal, it may be Vishwa Hindu Parishad, it may be Hindu Mahasabha, it may be Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, the way they are treating its minorities, the latest happenings in JNU Delhi, in Telangana, Hyderabad University, and in Punjab particularly, where RSS is spreading its wings, its chief Mohan Panwar has said couple of times, repeatedly standing on the soil of Punjab, that by 2020, everybody in India will be a Hindu. And RSS is telling, without mincing words, that the ancestors of all those minorities here were Hindus and they should come back home, and they have named this campaign as Ghar Wapsi. We as Sikhs, we are a sovereign, distinct people. Until 150 years ago, we had a nation bigger than present day France, 150,000 square mile territory, extending from Khyber Pass to Tibet and from Shikarpur Sindh to the footsteps of Satluj. Britishers took our homeland by deceit, by cheating, by all kind of conspiracies in which Lahore Darbar was involved. In 98 years of British rule in Punjab, it is the Sikhs of Punjab which contributed more than 80% of their warriors, of their martyrs, and those who went to life imprisonments, whose properties were confiscated, and Sikhs were the third party in 1947 partition of India during the Round Table Conferences. We joined Indian Union on the assurances by Gandhi and Nehru that no constitution in India will be accepted which won't be acceptable to the Sikhs. But to our dismay, we found that in the Constituent Assembly, the Constituent Assembly representatives even refused to accept Sikhs as a separate religion. Article 25B of Indian Constitution describes Sikhs, Buddhists and Jains as Hindus. Our struggle started right there. Two Sikh representatives in the Constituent Assembly, Bhupinder Singh Maan and Hukam Singh, declared it is betrayal of the Sikhs, it is betrayal of the promises made to the Sikhs. We reject this constitution. The fact of the matter is that de facto we might have been captured in Indian map, but de jure we are not part of India, as we have not accepted Indian constitution. Since 1950 to 1984, for almost 37 years after the partition. Sikhs struggled peacefully for simple rights, right of their language to be the state language, their claim on river water, and so many other petty issues. But the answer given by Indian government and Sikhs' genuine demand was an Anandpur Sahib resolution which talked about general federal structure, federal setup in India, in which a few portfolios like defense, external affairs or currency should be common, but in all others it should be autonomous states, not only Punjab, but this demand was for all states of India. But on June 84, on the day of martyrdom of Guru Arjan Sahib, a full-scale army assault on Golden Temple, Sanctum Sanctorum of the Sikhs, and 37 Sikh historical shrines that took place. Whole of Punjab was cut off from the rest of the country. There was a complete shutdown of everything, and in over 12,000 villages of Punjab, the massacre, the genocide of the Sikh youth occurred. They gave very fancy names to these operations. Operation Blue Star, Operation Good Rose, Operation Chase, Operation Final Assault. And now what we have seen after that whole generation of Sikh youth was eliminated between 1984 and 1994. And after that, how Punjab was invaded with the drugs, with all kind of vulgar culture in the name of culture, and the way Badals and all their cronies were brought into power, and the way even today the Punjab is under Indian Army jackboot is very clear that after the desecration of Guru Granth Sahib in many places, including Bargadi and other places, when Sikhs protested, how they were fired upon in Babal Kala, where two Sikhs, Gurjot Singh and Krishan Bhagwan Singh, were killed and dozens wounded. And Justice Karju, Markandeya Karju Commission, who held a public hearing on that, has issued its report 2 days ago, in which it is very clearly said that the firing was unprovoked and SSP Charanjit Sharma ordered firing after getting a phone call. And guess who made that phone call? The Sumed Saini, that butchered, who killed thousands of Sikh youngsters in fake staged encounters. Punjab is under Indian Army jackboot, and the way Indian government has spread its tentacles outside, as in today's protest, the lead is by Sikhs for Justice. I want to congratulate all the activists of Sikhs for Justice that how diligently they have worked in the past year to bring many victories to the Sikh Panth, and latest victory is of Bhai Paramjit Singh Pamma. The way he was to be extradited by India from Portugal, it is Sikhs for Justice and all the fellow organizations and 30 million Sikh nation which worked hard, gave a defeat to the Indian state, and Bhai Paramjit Singh Pamma is today back with his family safely in England. But my brothers and sisters, it is a one baby step of victory. Our destination, our manzile maqsood, our determination to reach our goal is very clear. We want an independent sovereign nation between river Jamuna and border of Wagah, which is our homeland, which is our fatherland, which is our motherland, which is the land for which Khalsa has shed its blood for more than 3 centuries. We liberated this land from Mughals, Afghans, British colonials, and our struggle for complete independence. And Sikh for Justice has given a call for referendum 2020. It's very clear. What we are talking here is as per international laws. What we are asking for is as per United Nations Charter of Human Rights, and it is very clear. If in the past years, new countries has emerged like South Sudan, Kosovo, Macedonia. Before that, how in the last 30, 40 years, 50 plus new nations have emerged. Soviet Union collapsed, 15 new nations emerged, and why not? Sikhs should have the same right under the UN Charter to have an independent country of their own, which they had until 1849. So very clearly, Modi, who is an embodiment of terrorism. Yesterday, 2 days ago, he was in Brussels, and he, addressing the Indian committee, said, United Nations have not been able to define even who is a terrorist and what is terrorism. And I said in one of my programs on TV 84 in such and such,